Well, good morning. It's about 5:30 in the morning. I'm here at Red Bluff, and rainy day, kind of on and off. Not a lot of snow really anywhere. And so they got this empty reefer for me out of Grandview, Washington. If you notice it up there, it says that it's for Grandview only in the red writing. I don't know if you can see it, but it so they want this to go up to Grandview, Washington. It's empty, 531 miles, and you would think that's quite a waste, but there's no loading the trailer from down here, so I mean it has to go back. So yeah, 531 empty miles today, and just driving through the rain as far as I know, so it should be a good Monday for me. Okay, so it's the next morning. And so I made it up to Grandview, Washington, and yeah, nothing to really talk about. Just straight drive through. Had a bunch of wind, kind of threw me around a little bit, being empty all that way. That was not a fun ride for probably a good 40-mile stretch, but hey, it all ended well, so we're good. Anyway, got in there last night and had about 45 minutes, pushing an hour left over. And one thing I notice when they don't have a lot of loads, I guess, I don't know, I'm just guessing at this, they'll change your ETD, well, they'll put in a projected. And if you're not paying attention, then when you show up and you wonder, I wonder why I didn't have a dispatch. This happened last week when I gave you guys a video. I said, oh, look, it switched days on me. Well, I thought it was my fault that I had put the wrong date in. Well, this time I made sure I put the right date in, and I looked and I seen that it was not the right date. So but I knew it was Walmart that had done it because it was a projected, and it put me in for the next day. But you know what? Just like I said last week, I mean, it's my first day out. I got 535 miles or whatever. I'm good with that. So I went ahead and just put in an ETD for the next day anyway. And just shut her down early, and came out pretty good. So this morning I had a Lacey, which is weird because I hadn't been there in years, and I had that last week too. So I had a Lacey store, and this is up in Washington, and Chumwater. So Chumwater, Lacey, dry grocery, or they call it remix, and so that means no reaper, just a dry van with dry groceries in it. And so one of the examples of, like that, what's not normal compared to like regular truck driving, I guess if you'd call it that, is that you'll have appointment times like an over-the-road driver or just different types of truck driver. Well, here, when you do the groceries, it's what's called a window. And so basically from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. at night, you have to deliver somewhere within that window, which gives you a really, good choice of time there. It's not pushing you hard and that kind of thing. And it works out pretty good. And during bad weather, a lot of times you can end up delivering the day before. They put a message out that lets all the stores know, hey, we got bad weather. We need to try to get a jump on this. Go ahead and let the guys deliver early. So, well, it's like 5 something in the morning. So, well, actually now it's 6 something. Because I'm down here at the truck stop. I was gonna video at the DC, and it just was a little too crowded. I had a guy right next to me get his trailer, and yeah, a little reminder there. Do the tug test every time. Do not miss the tug test. And what do I mean by the tug test? Well, if you drive truck, you know what I'm talking about. You hook onto that trailer. One, you get underneath and you look and make sure those jaws are locked in around that kingpin when you connect that trailer. But when you go to take off, pull the trailer brake and tug it, and make sure that trailer's not going to come off, because otherwise you have this happen. And I felt really bad for the guy, but I didn't know that was going to happen, but I know that when I backed in, he backed in beside me, and it just didn't have that clunk when he backed into it. He just kind of backed up and stopped. And I know some guys are like, oh, I don't want to be banging it around or whatever. It's okay. You can give it a little bump. You need to, actually. It doesn't have to be severe, but I see so many guys back up and you just hear click, which is fine if you're going to do a tug test. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, it's not going to hurt it if it gives it a slight bump. I would rather have that clean like bump and then the click. That's the jaws closing in, and you'll hear it if you have the window down, which generally I always do that. But he didn't have that, and so when he took off, yeah, I just kind of, as soon as he tried to make that turn, and he wasn't tug testing at that point because there's no brake lights until it comes off. You can see it. Basically, he made the turn, trailer came off, came down on the landing gear, and then the brakes came on. So, yeah, and you know, I would have helped him, but I mean, there's nothing I can do for him. I mean, this is pretty much a one-man operation. You know, he might be able to back up underneath it, but most likely he's going to have to get out there and do the landing gear and get that thing up and then go back underneath it. But if anything, I don't think it would have been helping. What would I do, you know? Like watch to tell him when it falls again or something bad happens? Nah, I'll let him do that. Anyway, so do the tug test, which, you know, of course it made me paranoid. I tugged probably 6 or 7 times on mine after seeing that. I'm like, ooh, maybe I better double, triple check. And anyway, so I spent a pretty good amount of time after that having to slide the axles, overweight on the axles. Had to put it back about 3 notches, and so now I'm on my way. So we'll see what happens. I haven't looked at the weather today. They did look at it yesterday, and it seemed like it was going to be okay. Who knows? Maybe putting chains on up there on snow plowing. If so, then I'll do it and just move on. So that's what's happening. So I'm here at the Tumwater store. Got done with Lacey. Took a while. I had a few pallets dumped over. Not sure why they kind of loaded it weird, so I don't really know what that was about. So it took quite a bit of time, and then now I'm here at the Tumwater store, dropping hook, and they got me going empty all the way back to Red Bluff. Not sure why. I would imagine things are going to get a little slower now that the holidays are over, so maybe they don't want to get me stuck up here with no freight or whatever, but it is Saturday, so there's not a lot of places like a backhaul to be able to pick up. So heading back empty. I'll get back about midday tomorrow, and then let's see what they got for me. And then after that, 15 days off, which I'm going to enjoy that. I'll probably do some videos at the house, some informational things. Actually, I got a couple of things that I need to talk about anyway. I've been getting a lot of emails lately. People say they're using me as referrals, and I appreciate that. Thanks. So far, none of them came through. So it means either they haven't gotten hired yet, or they didn't get hired, or they put the wrong information down. I don't really know. I'm not that worried about it, although I am a little curious. So I plan on calling the number and finding out, you know, if everything is on the up and up here on whether, you know, there's some stuff out there that I just haven't figured out yet, or, you know, who knows? Maybe it just nobody used it. But at any rate, besides that, I got some stuff to talk about, and I'll share it with you then. So I'm going to get this trailer all figured out here, get the lock on it, and start heading back to Red Bluff. And I'll catch you guys the next go around.